Jamie Fry, Media College Work 2011. This is my evaluation for my coursework which I've done. I'm doing it in a monkey suit, in a monkey onesie. It's got the monkey ears. I don't know why I've done it, but I thought it'd look really good on my blog, so here it is. So the first question for my media coursework was, in what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Now, my media magazine, The Drop, it uses several conventions of existing magazines, but it also challenges the codes set by them through my own intuition and creativity. The conventions set by existing magazines work because they are what the audience are used to, and they look professional, and the readers can easily recognise it is that a particular magazine. For example, NME always features its masthead in the top left hand corner of with the title often hidden behind the cover image or the artist. This is simply a house style which NME have taken, and they continue it through most of their magazines. The NME masthead is always in the top left hand corner, as is Q magazine, as is Kerrang. As you can see with Kerrang, let's have a look. Lost the page. As you can see with Kerrang though, they keep their masthead along the centre, fitting up the whole of the centre of the magazine. Now, this convention is used by many magazines, both in the music industry but also in other industries. For example, Empire, which is a DVD and a film magazine. But in like film, lifestyle and culture, it's so that the audience can easily see it and know it's that magazine. I base my music magazine loosely around NME and Kerrang because they both have a similar target audience, age and gender, and they feature similar artists and stories. I obtained many elements of these magazines through research and these helped me design my own magazine, making it a lot more professional. I used Anchorage, which is a Anchorage by Roland Barthes, who basically it meant that with an image or some form of graphic, they are accompanied with something that helps the reader know what that image is about. For example, my images are either subheaded or anchored with a caption or quote explaining what the image is about to the audience, just making them understand it a little bit better. In terms of layout and colour, I broke and followed conventions set by existing music magazine. As a magazine is about the dubstep and house genre of music, there aren't that many. There's no existing magazines which cover that genre solely. Kerrang featured The Odd Artist, as does Vibe, which is an American magazine. However, there aren't any magazines on the market at the moment which focus its music and artists and features solely on the dubstep genre. So I had to create new ideas and layouts. I used juxtaposition by having my masthead and cover story font in a much larger size to make it brighter and bolder to denote it as an important title to read for the audience, making it stand out more. I used an orange colour, just making it stand out more, bring it up in front of the page, that way it stands out more to the audience. For my masthead, I also developed a convention set by existing magazines, as I created a symbol to go with the masthead. It's an arrow aiming down at the end of the P on the drop, which signifies a drop of the music, a drop of the beat, which is something which people who are into dubstep music or house music would understand, and they think it's really cool. They think it'll look really good on my magazine, so that's good. Another code that I planned on following, but as I developed my magazine further so it wouldn't look as professional, was to put the main image of Woodzilla on top of the masthead name. Woodzilla is my main artist. However, I did at the very end of it decide to put an image of his head in front of the end of my masthead, purely because it looked really good. It stood out more, and it did look really good on the magazine, on my final product, which you can see. Many magazines use this design, for example Kerrang and NME. I use on Photoshop I use grid lines as a guide to ensure that all my text and images were aligned straight to look as professional as possible. I situated my cell line beneath my masthead to ensure the font size was large enough to be seen, but small enough to fit between the first letter of my masthead and the last. This way it looked tidy, it looked clean, it looked really good on the page, and it just looks professional, it looks much more professional. As I didn't have an existing music magazine of the same genre to base my magazine on and grab ideas and colours from, I had to design my own layout and take a few ideas from magazines like Q and NME. The final product, however, is different from these magazines. I decided to use a more simpler colour scheme, keeping the number of different colours on the page down to a minimum. It makes the cover look less cluttered and easier to read. Whereas Kerrang, it uses a much more in-your-face design and layout for its front cover. I decided to keep it more plain and simple. A clever use of word editing and shading makes the words stand out, and the cover image looks more professional to attract the reader. I added a lot of drop shadows to the text. I also added it's a tool on Photoshop called Burn, which basically edited the photo so everywhere around around Woodzilla, the artist on the front cover, everywhere around it was much darker, but he stood out more, which again it looks really professional, looks really good. The image title, "The Next Generation of Music," stands out well against the against the background. It just looks more clean and professional. I always referred to my target reader and thought about how they would like it to look. After doing some research into existing magazines, I found a front cover called Spin Magazine with a dubstep artist as the main image on the front cover. The magazine looked really simple, however it didn't look bare and empty. This is what I aim to do with my cover, as I wanted the full focus on the main feature and the main image. For my contents page, I used part of the layout for Kerrang magazine, showing clearly the main feature and what it's about, as well as other news and events which existing magazines have stories about. I also used an artist index, a convention already used by Kerrang in some editions of its magazine. This is to show the reader exactly what page their favourite band is on, and without having to find it the hard way. I included another image of Woodzilla along with a small caption explaining what the feature story will be about and what the page is on. What page it is on, a convention used by nearly all magazines in the music industry.